you straight. You did it lane. I'm 15, 16 years old. And she laying on the couch. And I'm sitting on the other end, and she laid down on the couch and put her head in my lap. I'm like, damn. He can't be talking about Mary was talking about she wanted me to come back up here, and now she on my lap. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, what is this gonna end up to? And she stayed a couple more hours. And we decided to go in the other room because it was a suite. We went in another room and laid down. And she laid down with me, and she kind of like backed up against me, and every time she backed up against me, I would move away and shit,
Y'all, things just got even crazier. Danny Boy, the former Death Row Records singer, has dropped some serious accusations involving Diddy and Mary J. Blige, and the internet is in shock. According to him, when he was only 15 years old, Mary J. allegedly pulled him into a sexual relationship, with Diddy backing it all up. And it doesn't stop there. Danny claims Mary even got pregnant with Diddy's child, but was allegedly forced to have an abortion. Now the big question is, was Mary a victim too, or was she just as involved in Diddy's disturbing actions? And get this, Danny says Mary wasn't only seeing him, but she was also allegedly cheating on Tupac at the same time. This story is spiraling out of control, and we're going to break it all down for you. For a while now, people have been whispering that once Diddy's secrets came to light, others in the industry would be exposed too. Well, that prediction seems to be coming true. Mary J. Blige's name is now being mentioned in connection to some serious accusations, and none of them are flattering. Danny Boy, who became known through his time at Death Row Records, recently started speaking out. During interviews, he didn't hold anything back. In fact, he dropped bombshell after bombshell, especially about his alleged relationship with Mary J. Blige. He claims that when he was just 15 years old, Mary, who was 24 at the time, started pursuing him romantically. What makes this even more troubling is Danny's claim that Diddy not only knew about it, but may have helped set it up. According to him, the music world at the time was...
We was talking, I think I left out, and Suge called me back up to the room. He said, come back upstairs, man, or old girl want to see you. This old girl. I'm thinking one of the other girls. Mary's sitting on the couch. So I know the girl that he in the bed with don't want me. So I went in, he closed the door and shit, and I sit down and I start talking to Mary. And inside, I'm about to lose it, because I'm actually sitting here talking to Mary. She's sitting on the couch and shit, and we ordered some food and some more drinks.
No,
toxic space where powerful people took advantage of younger, more vulnerable artists. Young talents like himself were often used, silenced, and manipulated. Danny says this all started in 1995, right after the Source Awards. There was a party at a hotel and lots of familiar names were there. People like Mary J. Blige, Diddy's ex Misa Hilton, and other women from the industry. Danny was in his own room when someone called him and invited him to join the celebration. Curious, he went to check it out. When he walked into the room and saw Mary, he admitted he was completely starstruck. He'd been a fan of hers for years and couldn't believe he was in the same room. He hung out for a bit, had a few drinks, and then returned to his room. But a little while later, someone from the party called again and told him a woman wanted to see him. Thinking it might be one of the other women from the party, Danny went back to the room. But when he got there, only Mary and Misa were inside. According to him, he sat on the couch with Mary and started to feel nervous when someone knocked on the door. Mary allegedly panicked and hid, thinking it might be her boyfriend at the time, KC from Jodeci. Their relationship was reportedly toxic and sometimes violent, so she feared he might show up and cause a scene. But it turned out to be a false alarm. Once she realized it wasn't KC, Danny says she went right back to being flirtatious, like nothing had happened. He claims she leaned her head on his lap, touched him, and things quickly became physical. He says that night they ended up sleeping together. That alone would be disturbing given his age at the time, but Danny says it didn't end there. According to him, it turned into a full-blown secret affair. Mary would reportedly fly him out to New York just to spend time with her, continuing the relationship in private. Danny even believed they were truly together as a couple, not knowing she was also seeing Casey and Tupac during that period. He insists that, at least on his end, it was a real relationship, not just a fling. But in hindsight, it's clear Mary may not have seen it the same way. Here's where things get even messier. Danny claims Mary didn't come up with all of this on her own. He says Diddy played a huge role in pushing the relationship forward. Back then, Mary and Diddy were incredibly close. Diddy was an executive at Uptown Records, and Mary was one of the label's biggest stars. Knowing that now, things start to look suspicious. Danny alleges that Diddy not only approved
15, 16 years old, and she laying on the couch, and I'm sitting on the other end, and she laid down on the couch and put her head in my lap. I'm like, damn. He can't be talking about Mary. He was talking about she wanted me to come back up here, and now she on my lap. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, what is this gonna end up to? And she stayed a couple more hours. And we decided to go in the other room because it was a suite. We went in another room and laid down. And she laid down with me and she kind of like backed up against me, and every time she backed up against me, I would move away and shit, you know?
Of the relationship, but encouraged it. When Danny hesitated to get intimate with Mary, Diddy allegedly pressured him, going as far as to threaten his career if he refused. Danny says that's part of the reason his music career slowed down. He claims he got tired of being used and manipulated by both Mary and Diddy. According to him, they would call him whenever they were feeling freaky, and he was expected to drop everything no matter where he was and fly out to meet them. If this sounds familiar, that's because it's eerily similar to the stories we've heard from Cassie and others. They've also described being forced to fly out at a moment's notice to satisfy Diddy's demands, and facing his anger when they didn't comply. From what Danny is saying, it seems like Diddy has allegedly been involved in disturbing behavior since the 90s. And remember, he was also running Puffy's Flavor Camp at the time, a program involving young male artists living under his roof. This entire situation is starting to feel like a deeper, darker pattern. What makes Danny's story even more believable is Diddy and Mary J. Blige's extremely close bond. If you thought Diddy and Jay-Z were tight, Diddy and Mary were practically family. They've been close since the early 90s. Diddy produced her early albums, including her debut, What's the 411? That's over 3 decades of loyalty between them. Diddy has often praised Mary as one of the greatest voices in R&B. In an interview, he once said, "Mary J. Blige is one of the greatest storytellers in R&B history. She gave women around the world a voice." With that kind of admiration and history,
from that time, I had an opportunity to go out to New York and visit her a couple more times. Well, you know, that's why I was kind of confused when I heard Kurt saying that Mary was Pop Girl. Because at that time, she was my girl. At that time, I'm 15, 16 years old, and she flying me in to see her. And you know what it is when a girl back up on you, you young and I'm trying to show her that she ain't phasing me.
It's hard to ignore Danny's claims that Diddy may have influenced her actions. And now, the situation is reaching new levels. Danny alleges that during their secret relationship, Mary got pregnant, with Diddy being the father. But according to him, Diddy didn't want the child and pressured Mary into terminating the pregnancy. That's a serious claim, and it adds a heartbreaking layer to an already messy situation. So now people are asking, was Mary really another victim of Diddy's manipulation, or was she a willing participant? Did she betray Tupac during all this? And how many other young artists might have been dragged into similar situations? As Diddy faces mounting legal troubles and more people speak out, we may get more answers soon. And according to rumors, Danny Boy might be one of the next people to testify. If that happens, even more dark secrets about the music industry's past could come to light. For now, this story is one wild, tangled mess. There are way too many unanswered questions. But one thing's for sure, this is just the beginning, and things are only getting more intense. Mary J. Blige is more than just a sister or a close friend to those around her. She's an icon, a trailblazer, and forever the queen of hip-hop soul. She's not only broken boundaries in music, but also proven time and again that she's a force of nature who can rise above anything when she puts her mind to it. However, by the late 1990s and into the early 2000s, things between Mary and music mogul Sean "Diddy" Combs began to crumble.
You were early on, you was messing with Mary.
Well,
okay, how did you think about
that? That time I wasn't. I kind of was, but wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. How did you think? Like, what did you feel like? Okay, yeah, I like Mary, or you just was like, was she taking advantage of you because you were young?
No, I mean, that was Mary J. Blige.
She was young too.
She was young too, and that was Mary J. Blige. And when I brought that story up, because a lot of people thought that I was like trying to Me Too. I mean, I wouldn't have used her. I got somebody I could Me Too if I want to, but it wouldn't be Mary. I said it in the conversation of, somebody else was saying how Mary was somebody's girl, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, no, it wasn't. That was my girl.
The relationship, which had once been both personal and professional, took a major hit. The fallout wasn't hidden. It was clear to everyone that they weren't on good terms. They completely stopped communicating and acted like the other no longer existed. Their bond, which once seemed unbreakable, had fallen apart. Eventually, Mary spoke out about what went wrong. In a moment of vulnerability, she admitted that the blame was hers. She was going through a difficult period in her life and couldn't keep things together. Her personal issues made it impossible for her to nurture friendships or business partnerships, including the one with Diddy. Mary openly said, "The real reason we drifted apart was because I didn't understand the business side of things the way I should have." She explained that Diddy was managing a successful label and had several major artists, including the late notorious Blige, to focus on. Meanwhile, she was spiraling out of control, struggling with drug abuse and personal demons. She was unreliable and unhealthy, which made her a risky investment for any business partner. Looking back, she understood why Diddy chose to step away. She wasn't in a place to be depended on, but that's only part of the story. There have been unsettling rumors that Diddy allegedly got Mary pregnant and forced her to terminate the pregnancy. Danny Boy, a former artist from Death Row Records, made some disturbing claims about the nature of Mary and Diddy's relationship. According to him, their private interactions were far from loving. He claimed Diddy was aggressive with Mary and even pressured her into using adult toys to satisfy him in ways she didn't want to. Danny Boy also brought up a particularly painful story. He said that Mary became pregnant with Diddy's child, but Diddy didn't want to be a father and forced her to have an abortion. According to Danny, the experience traumatized Mary so deeply that she chose never to have children afterward. Mary herself hinted at this in an interview. She said, "I have nieces and nephews, and I'm always seeing people struggle to find babysitters. I don't want that kind of stress. I love the freedom to move around and live on my own terms. I don't think having kids is in my future." Her words made it clear she preferred independence and wasn't interested in raising children. Despite everything that happened, Mary stayed connected with Diddy for many years. They appeared to have mended things and moved forward. From the outside, it looked like they had buried the past and rebuilt their friendship. So, when Mary suddenly changed her tone and started acting like they were never close, people were surprised. Out of nowhere, she claimed they had been distant for a long time. This confused a lot of people who remembered seeing them together not long ago. But there might be a reason for her sudden change of heart. Rumor has it that federal investigators have been looking into some suspicious activities involving Diddy. Allegedly, Mary's name has come up in connection with some of those events. Insiders say she's now trying to separate herself from Diddy before any possible fallout reaches her. This isn't a new move. Several celebrities have started backing away from Diddy ever since the investigations began. One reason Mary might be so worried is because of her rumored involvement with Danny Boy when he was still very young. Although the statute of limitations may have passed, meaning she likely can't be charged with anything now, the last thing she wants is to be exposed for inappropriate behavior with a minor. Reports suggest she and Diddy both participated in troubling group encounters that included Danny. Just when you think things can't get more shocking, a new wave of speculation suggests Mary may also know the truth behind
that was that was a spiritual, whether people know it or not, because God don't kill people, whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people, I would have to really bring proof, for what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life, and it's so unfair, and it wasn't time, It wasn't, I believe it wasn't her time to go, because from what I know, it ain't supposed to go down like that. And just simple obedience, like, you know, your gut always warns you. That your gut never lies to you. And something like luggage and clothes and jewelry and all this madness that we worship is called false idols. We need to really look at the bigger picture right now.
What really happened to Aaliyah. And it's not just Mary. People are whispering that Diddy and others in his circle might be involved too. We all know that Aaliyah tragically lost her life in a plane crash at the height of her music career. But for years, fans and insiders have questioned whether it was really just a tragic accident. Here's the strange part. Aaliyah wasn't even supposed to be in the Bahamas. The original plan was to shoot her music video in Florida. Everything was ready. Then, suddenly, director Hype Williams switched the location to the Bahamas, without even consulting Aaliyah. Once in the Bahamas, things moved quickly, and the shoot ended earlier than expected. But no transportation had been arranged to return her team to Florida. Aaliyah contacted her friend, Lenny Kravitz, who kindly offered to send his private plane to bring her back. But just as she was about to board, Hype reportedly stopped her, saying he had already made other travel arrangements. The plane he had arranged was small, too small for all the passengers and their equipment. It was overloaded. Even worse, reports later revealed that the pilot may have been under the influence of drugs. Aaliyah was said to be nervous about the flight and initially didn't want to get on. But according to some sources, she was given a sedative and carried onto the plane while unconscious. Moments after takeoff, the aircraft crashed, killing everyone on board. Mary has always spoken about Aaliyah's passing with a sense of spiritual depth. She once said that Aaliyah's death felt more like a spiritual attack than a simple accident. Although she never pointed fingers publicly, people close to the situation have said Mary privately believed that Diddy might have played a role. Some in the industry say Diddy stood to benefit financially from Aaliyah's death. And those rumors about Aaliyah being drugged before the flight? They sound disturbingly similar to allegations from other women who have come forward about Diddy. It gets even messier. People have suggested that Aaliyah might have had damaging information about both Diddy and R. Kelly. We already know that R. Kelly married Aaliyah when she was just 15, something that's been heavily criticized. If she really had secrets that could hurt both men, it's not far-fetched to think that some people may have wanted to silence her. So yes, Mary was deeply involved with Diddy for years, but she recently made it clear that she wants nothing more to do with him. In a strong message on Instagram, she wrote, "A lot of you met me when I didn't know how to set boundaries and was too eager to please people. Let me reintroduce myself. I burn bridges when necessary." Considering all the scandalous allegations and her connection to some dark situations, it's not surprising that Mary wants to protect herself. But Danny Boy isn't the only person accusing her of being involved in disturbing incidents. She's also been linked to Diddy's alleged